Hello everybody, welcome to Savage Ink Studios. I'm your host Ink, and today's sketchbook story time is a request by a very special follower who wanted a spooky, scary, paranormal story. So, for the rest of you, whether you want to take this as a Ink life story or if you want to assume that it's just a spooky fairy tale, either or is good. So, when Ivy and I were little, we used to torture each other. I mean, it was bad. We loved each other. We'd take a bullet for each other, but we tortured each other. I remember I used to make nasty concoctions of like mustard and jelly and mayonnaise and yogurt and all sorts of nasty stuff and tell her that it was a potion and that if she ate it and then was super nice to me, she'd be able to fly. And then the first time she'd disagree with me after choking down this nasty concoction, I'd be like, oh, it won't work now. And she would follow me around the house and repeat every single word that I said all day long. Or if I was sitting down to draw, she's left-handed, I'm right-handed. So if a left-handed person sits down to the right of a right-handed person and they're both trying to do something with their hands, their elbows are gonna knock. And we had a square table in which there were other seats to sit, but she would pull her chair directly to my right whenever I was trying to draw and then knock elbows with me so that she could mess me up. However, some of the worst things that we would do to each other outside of like actually getting into it and yanking on each other's hair was what we did to scare each other. It started with, oh, there's an empty toy box on the floor. We'll just, put it over top of one another and sit on it so they can't get out, right? But as we got older, we got more creative, and finally, my favorite pastime became that if she got too much on my nerves, I would tie her hand to a piece of twine and tie it to the bar in our closet and stick her in there so that she couldn't get out. And, she'd scream and she'd cry, but at the same time, this wasn't just me being a total psychopath. She would do the same sort of things to me. We had a VHS cabinet underneath our TV where we would empty out all of the VHS tapes and, I would climb in there and then she would sit in front of it so that I couldn't get out. So being stuck in small, dark spaces was just part of what we did to each other, mutually. So the very last time, my sister hated being locked in the closet, hated it. Yeah, she would scream, she would cry. I'd usually only leave her in there for like an hour and then I'd let her out. And she would get so mad, like wouldn't talk to me for the rest of the day, kind of mad, which should have been a sign to me that it wasn't just that it was dark and that it was small. It wasn't just that she was, tied to something and couldn't get out the way that she reacted to being stuck in a closet. The very last time that I ever stuck my sister in a closet was when I had pulled her out and she's crying and whatever, and I untied her and gave her a hug. I'm like, you need to stop being so obnoxious now. And she's like, something got me. Now, growing up, when I was living with my mom, we grew up in a heavily Wiccan household, and not just in the I respect nature kind of way, but in the my mom did seances and tarot readings in our kitchen kind of way. So no matter where we lived as children, there were always things there. And for the most part, I was after getting over my initial very young big problem. After that, was able to pretty much brush off the majority of things around the house. But she came out crying and hyperventilating and said, it got me, it got me. I'm like, what are you talking about? And she shoved her arm in my face. And just above, like, the back of her elbow was what looked like human teeth marks. A giant bite mark. Now, my Ivy's double jointed and can do weird things with her body that most people can't. So the very first reaction that I had was to take her elbow and to try to lift it up to her mouth to see if she could actually bite herself in that place somehow. But she couldn't. There was no way for her to reach her arm that specific way, and the bite mark was a lot bigger than a little girl's mouth. This looked like a grown-up person bit down and drew blood on my sister's arm. And that was the last time that I ever locked her in my closet. We shared a room at that point in time, and my sister wouldn't sleep if the closet door was open. She didn't want to go to sleep if I wasn't there with her. She had always said that there was something scary about the closet, which to me, I just assumed it's a kid thing, you know. Kids are afraid of closets. Kids are afraid of underneath the bed. Fortunately for us, we just had a mattress on the floor, so we didn't have to worry about that one. But after that, I believed her. Something in that closet did not like her, and did not like her being in there. So, there is your spooky, scary, paranormal story. Many more of those. Like I said, whether you want to assume that this is a life story or just a spooky fairy tale to make your skin have the heebie-jeebies or whatever, is entirely up to you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you thought, if this is, you know, something that anybody else is interested in. Really, if you guys have any ideas for the channel, things that you want to see, things that you want me to talk about, topics you want me to cover, please comment below. I could use a little inspiration these days. So, yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. See you guys in the next one.